The heart of a photograph is its composition, which is the position of different elements in a frame. The easiest rule of thumb to learn and remember is the rule of thirds. Basically, you will want to break your frame into 9 squares of roughly equal size. Try and align the subject of your photo along these lines and intersections, and imagine the main image divided over these 9 boxes. This gives you a more dramatic, visually interesting shot than one where your subject is located dead center. Many cameras and smartphones have a rule of thirds grid overlay that you can activate when shooting. As long as you're not shooting in full manual mode, your digital camera is making decisions that determine how bright or dark a photo appears. If a photo is too light or dark, you can either delve through the dozens of scene modes that are available in modern point-and-shoot cameras, or simply dial in a bit of exposure compensation. Many cameras have a physical button or dial for this, identified by a plus-minus symbol. If your photo is too dark, move the scale up above 0. If too bright, move it down a bit. Your camera is likely to have scores of shooting modes, ranging from fully automatic to very specific scene modes. If you're shooting fast action, you can put the camera into shutter priority mode and increase the speed at which a photo is taken. Setting it to 1/25th second or faster will help to freeze action. In lower light, you can use aperture priority mode to make sure as much light is entering the lens as possible. Or if you're shooting landscapes on a tripod, you can close the lens's iris to increase depth of field, keeping everything in sharp focus from the foreground to the horizon. If you're a DSLR shooter, you're more likely to use the A or S modes, while point-and-shoot cameras will often feature more specific modes that cater to activities like sports, low-light use, or landscape shooting. Pay attention to how much light you have and where it's coming from when taking your photos. If you're shooting outdoors, be careful not to take photos of a person when the sun is at their back, unless you want to make a portrait with some dramatic flair. If you're grabbing a photo in front of a monument or landmark and you want to make sure it's not overexposed, use some fill flash instead to make your backlit subject as bright as the background. You may have to manually activate the flash, as there's a good chance that the camera will think that it's unnecessary on a bright day. Many a photo has been foiled by a flash firing too close to a subject. If your friends and family look like Casper the Friendly Ghost when you photograph them, chances are that you're too close when snapping your photos. If you need to activate the flash, back up a bit and zoom in to get the proper framing. If things are still too bright or too dark, check and see if flash compensation is an option. Most snap shooters and beginners will stand on 2 legs and take snapshots from eye level. While this is fine for many images, it's not always ideal. If you've got a camera with a tilting screen, you can more easily shoot from a low or high angle to get a different perspective on your subject. If you don't have a tilting LCD, think about getting down low to the ground to get the best shots of pets and toddlers. You'll want the camera at their eye level to get an image that stands out. You don't have to pay for every shot with a digital camera, so play around with the different angles and camera positions until you've found one that captures a moment and stands out. Sometimes, the best way to get your shot perfect is to take some extra time. Using a tripod will allow you to set up framing and can come in handy for getting that shot of you and the kids in front of Mount Rushmore. You can get away with an inexpensive tripod if you're a point-and-shoot user, although spending a bit more on a brand like Manfrotto or MePhoto will result in much less frustration than with the bargain brands that you'll find at the local 5 and dime. DSLR users should definitely put care into selecting a tripod, as a set of legs and a head that are sturdy enough to hold the camera are paramount. If you're more of a run-and-gun shooter, a monopod will help you stabilize your shots. Great for use at zoos and sporting events, a monopod is supplemented by your 2 legs in order to add stability to your camera, as opposed to the sometimes cumbersome setup and breakdown required with a good tripod. It's easy to take hundreds of photos in a few hours when shooting digitally, but don't just dump your memory card and upload all of the images to Facebook. Spend some time going through your photos so you can eliminate redundant shots and discard photos that may be out of focus or poorly composed. It's better to post a few dozen great photos by themselves rather than the same good photos hiding among hundreds of not so good ones.